Hello, in this short video I want to show you how to create your own studio in the new Affinity, which is the Affinity version 3, which combines the Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Publisher into one app, and it's now free. I created this pattern making studio and combined the tools that I use the most from the Vector Studio and the tools that I use, most of the tools that I use from the Pixel Studio, and now I no longer have to go between the Vector or the Pixel, even though it's so much easier now to just hit F2 or F3 or just toggle between the two. But now you don't even have to do that. You can just put all your tools into one single studio and make your process more efficient and convenient. I created this pattern making studio already, but I'm going to show you how you can create your own. I have a lot of different tools that I use because I start with watercolors and then I create the patterns from there, and I wanted to have everything. Even when I'm creating the pattern, sometimes I want to come back and use my macros to clean up the edges here, so I want to be able to do all that without having to go back and forth between the pixel and the different panels. So in order to create your own studio, first you want to go to the three dots here where it says Studio Manager, and you want to go here where it says Create Studio, and here you want to give it a name. I'm going to call it Pattern Making 2 just to show you. Here in this little circle with the camera, you can select, let's say for example you want to use one of your patterns as your icon. You can do that, so you can put it in there. You want to clone from, if you want to start from scratch, you can do that. I started with the Pixel because I use a lot of the Pixel tools, so let's do that. And let's see, in the background, if you click on the rectangle with the color, you can give it a different color as well. Let's see, I want something kind of light, and then here in the description, this is pattern making, cleaning, watercolor, and gouache artworks. So you can enter a description as well, and then you hit create. Once you hit create, I don't like the color, so because you can actually see it, so we'll go change that. But you can see that you created a new studio with the new name and the description. And now I'm gonna right click on it, and I'm going to edit it because I don't like this super dark color. So let's put something very very light so we can see it. And let's go ahead and update, and there you go, now we can see it. Okay, so this is the studio, and I started from the Pixel Persona. So as you can see up here, you'll have the Pixel tools that are standard, and the information in your toolbar at the top as well, that it's standard. And the same thing here in the histogram on the different panels. I always have the macro and my library and my assets open, but I'll show you how to open all that. So there's two ways, or probably more, but two ways that you can start updating the panels. First, you can right click in the toolbar and you can customize the toolbar, and you're going to get these customized window, and then you can add or remove either toolbars or the tools or the panels. So that's one way. I'm going to close it. And then the other way is here in the three dots and the tools, you can customize tools, and it opens the same window, and you can customize from here as well. So let's use this one and start with the tools. I want to add some of my vector tools here in the actual tools. So I'm going to add separator just to separate my tools, my pixel tools that are already here from the vector tools that I like to add. I like to add the artboard tool, so I'm just going to put that at the top. I like to have the pencil tool, and let's put that over here. And I also like to have the path brush tools, which is the brushes. So I list those three. And I also want to grab from here the place tool. You can, and then this one I'm just going to put here like right at the bottom, and that's good for my my tools panel. I think that's enough in terms of what I wanted to add here that I used. Now if I go to the toolbar, I don't want to use this camera detail, so I just drag it and remove it from there. But now I want to keep the document information, but on the toolbar I want to add my align tools, so I'll just drag them, and then I want to go find a separator. Okay, you select it and just drag it, and then the next thing I want to add in my toolbar at the top is these. I'm debating whether I want the Boolean operations as well, and I definitely want to have the transform tools. So let's find the transform tools. And the transform tools to do the actions to flip horizontal, flip vertical, rotate. So grab that and then place it in the toolbar. And the next thing, I'm trying to decide whether I use these Boolean operations, to grab them as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab them and see if they fit here. Yeah, and then I want to add a separator between, I want to add another separator between the Boolean operations and the transform tool. So I just go here and find the separator, click on it, drag it, and separate. So now I'm done with my toolbar at the top. And then in the panels, now I want to go through the panels. I already have the macro, but what you would want to do if it's not available for you, just click on, go to the macros and turn it on and place it whatever you need to. I have the library and I have the assets. I usually keep these in my left hand side. On my right hand side, I don't need the histogram, so I'll just drag it out and remove. Here I like to have the color, I like to have the swatches. So then I'll go grab the swatches, turn that on, and it came up here. And then I'll also like to have here this the stroke, so turn on the stroke and it open as a separate window. So I'll just move it and drag it here. And I also like to have symbols up here. Then here in my layers, in the second set of boxes on the right hand side, I like to have my layers, I like to have the brushes, and I also want to add the path brushes, which are what we used to call the vector brushes. So let's find them, path brushes. I want to have those available as well. So it opened a separate window, and then I just want to put them over here. I think that's usually what I have here. And here in the bottom, I keep transform, and the navigator I don't usually use, so you can just drag it out and remove it. And the history, sometimes I use it if I want to go back several steps or early on in the process, but usually the transform, the layers, brushes, path, the stock I don't use all the time, but it's good to have. I think that's it in terms of what I like here in my studio. And then now you want to close it. Once you have set up your studio the way that you like, make sure everything is working the way you like, click on the move tool. Let's try something. Let's try here rectangle, and then I can just add another rectangle, and then I can probably select both, and then I can just go here and click add. Okay, so everything seems to be working. I don't need that. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to right click on my pattern making studio and update pattern making studio, and then everything that you set up, it's going to stay. So the next time you're working on a different pattern or cleaning up your art, you can just head over to that file and click on your studio, and then you'll have all the tools that you need the way that you set them up, and everything is available for you in a single studio. And okay, now the pattern making studio, it's ready, but since I have to, I just want to show you how you can eliminate one, or if you have too many that you've created and you no longer use them. First, head over to the three dots and you have to turn it off, or you can turn it on and just right click on it. And when you right click on it, you can go ahead and delete the studio if you made duplicates, or if you decided you no longer need it for your process, you can just remove from there as well. So just head over to the three dots and right click on the studio and click delete. You can also export or import your studio if you have multiple computers that you want to keep the same workspace layout, so you can also do that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.